Hello, good evening. It's Sunday evening where I am. Whatever time you're watching this video, I hope you are having an amazing day, an amazing morning, an amazing evening, whatever time it is where you are. Oh, it's been such an exciting day. Um, because I've just spent time with my family. It's been a quiet day for us at home. Yeah. So, um, I hope that you are getting something out of the channel, out of the video. Please do come back often to watch new content. Please don't forget to subscribe. Down below here, is it this side? Whichever side it is. Don't forget to subscribe and click the little bell icon next to the subscribe button so that when we upload new videos, you can be privy to watch them. So, today I am talking about forgiveness. Now, this is a topic that is um, mm, it is a tough one. Okay, it is a tough one, even for me, and I know that it's a tough one for many people. Forgiveness. Now, I believe that much of our pain in life comes from not forgiving people, or not forgiving injuries. It doesn't have to be other people, even not forgiving ourselves, not forgiving injuries or past hurts, especially if they are emotional. They could be physical sometimes, but mainly, most of our past hurts that have gone unforgiven are emotional because they're not tangible. They're not things that you can see. If you have a cut on your hand, you can see it healing. However, if you have an emotional pain, it is not tangible. You can't see it. You can't feel it or touch it. So it becomes a bit of a nightmare. So, um, I am going to just talk about forgiveness. It's just going to be a discussion really. I don't have the keys to unlock forgiveness, but I'm just going to, talk from my own experiences like I always do, and also just hope that you get something out of it. Sorry, I just paused it a little bit there just to reduce the effect of the noise that was out there. So, um, what is forgiveness? I am going to look at the etymology. Etymology is how the word forgiveness came about. If we kind of look back, how the English word forgiveness came about. So, when I kind of looked at the etymology, it came up with forgiveness means to give up power of punishing another person for an offense. So to give up the power to punish an offense. Okay? And if I look at the Latin word for forgiveness is perdonare. I don't know if I said it right. If there are any Latin speakers, please do tell us how to pronounce it. Perdonare. Now, perdonare means to give completely without reservations. Therefore, you are giving completely without reservations. And the Greek word, now the reason why I'm going through all of these different words is just such that we have a better understanding of what the word forgiveness is. Now, I'm going to take my time today to just, I'm not going to rush through this, guys. Now, the Greek word for forgiveness is aphiemi. I hope I'm saying it right as well. Aphiemi. I'll put the spellings there so that my Greek viewers can just, or any Greek speakers can pronounce it well. It means putting something away or laying aside. So you lay it aside. You lay the offense aside. You lay the injury aside. You and it ties in with the Latin word perdonare, which means to give completely without reservation. So you completely take it and lay it aside. Now let's look at the English meaning of forgiveness. It is the intentional and voluntary process by which a person undergoes a change in attitude and or feelings regarding an offense, you let go of negative emotions such as the need to revenge, such as resentment, regardless of whether the offender deserves it or not. Wow, that is packed. That definition is really packed. So let's take the first part of it, the intentional and voluntary process by which you lay aside afiemi, the voluntary and intentional process by which you lay aside or you put away the offense of another, whether they deserve it or not. It will eventually lead to you undergoing a change in feelings and attitudes towards this person or towards the offense or the offender. Okay? Now, this suggests to me that forgiveness, it's not a feeling. It is an intentional act. You sit down, you decide, I am going to forgive so and so. I'm going to forgive such an offense. It is a deliberate thing. It is not a feeling. It is a deliberate thing. It starts with you being deliberate, being intentional. So it is an intentional act. You make up your mind to forgive. It does not just happen. Okay? So now that we're done with the definition of forgiveness, sorry that took so long, but I just needed to highlight a few things there. Now that we're done with forgiveness, okay, I am going to kind of look at Isaiah 61 verse 1. The Greek meaning ties in with Isaiah 61 verse 1, which says releasing a prisoner, to let go, to discharge, to set free, or to liberate completely. That is our Greek meaning, which ties in with Isaiah 61 verse 1. And there was this person, Louis Medes, he says, to forgive is to set a prisoner free and discover that the prisoner was you. So, forgiveness is not for the other person. After all, it is for you. Okay? Now, how do we forgive? How do we go about forgiving? Now that we know what forgiveness is, we know that it is a deliberate thing. You have to sit down, you have to decide, you have to be intentional. It is a process, and eventually that process leads to you changing your feelings about the other person, changing your attitude towards the other person. And also, you let go of negative emotions, negative feelings, resentment, the need for revenge. And even if this person deserves it, or even if this offense deserves it or not, you have to forgive. So now that we know all of this, how do I then go about forgiving? Here I have got about six different points on how to forgive. Now these steps, I have them in this order. That is my experience. But you may have them in a different order, or you may have them kind of mixed and matched forwards and backwards. It doesn't really matter. I just have 6 steps on how to forgive. I first of all must say this. Forgiveness is very, very challenging. It can be challenging, especially if the one who hurts you does not accept wrongdoing. It can be very challenging, and even if that person accepts wrongdoing, sometimes emotional wounds and emotional injuries are very, very hard to forgive. So it is a commitment. You have to make a commitment, okay? You have to make a deliberate decision to forgive someone. So the first step, let me just go through. The first step is acknowledge your emotions, your negative emotions about the harm that has been done. Acknowledge your negative emotions about the offense that has been done, okay? And how it affects your behavior. Now, for example, if someone has stolen your money, You acknowledge that you are angered by that offense. That offense makes you angry. What behaviors? How does it affect your behavior towards other people? It makes you to lack trust, and therefore you behave differently towards people. That's an example there. So you need to acknowledge that there are negative emotions, or there are emotions that are attached to that offense. Okay? Now, once you have acknowledged the emotions, the second thing, step 2, is to work towards releasing these emotions. Now, this step 2 can take quite a while, okay? Because to release these emotions is really, it can be really difficult. Sometimes it's difficult to even acknowledge what emotions I am feeling. So step 2, take your time, because this is where the bulk of the work is being done. Okay? And recognize that this work is likely to churn up other emotions. A lot of old wounds are going to be opened here. Old emotions that you thought had been forgotten, you had forgotten all about them, are going to be uncovered. Okay? They may be uncovered. You may realize that, oh, this offense that so and so did a long time ago, I thought I had forgiven it, but it still makes me feel a little somehow on the inside. So those are old emotions, those are old wounds that are being uncovered. And it is a good thing, actually, that these old wounds are being uncovered, because it helps you to walk through all of these emotions, even the ones that you did not know were there. It helps in the healing process, because if you do not discover these emotions, unless you uncover them and deal with them, healing is not possible. So the third step is recognize the value of forgiveness and what impact it can have on your life. What is the value of forgiveness to you? I see forgiveness as being for me, releasing the person, okay? Taking back power, the power that the offense has over me, the power that the spirit of unforgiveness has over me, the power that the person who has committed the offense has over me. I am taking back that power. That is the use of forgiveness to me. That is the value of forgiveness to me. So I take back my power. Yes, I had given you my power. You used that power to offend me. I am taking back that power. That is the value of forgiveness to me. Once I have recognized the value of forgiveness, I can then start to heal. Identify what needs healing in you. That is step 4. Identify what needs healing in you that allows this offense to affect you this much. Now that I have recognized the power or the value of forgiveness, I can also then start to see the lesson that the offense was meant to teach me. Because I believe that everything happens for a purpose. Nothing just happens. If you have been offended by someone, there is one of two things that can happen. The first thing is you can take the lesson from that situation, or you can decide to stay stuck in that situation, in that season. I, for one, I choose to take the lesson from that situation and learn from it and move on. Step 5, is to identify who needs to be forgiven and what needs to be forgiven. Sometimes forgiveness is not just about the offense, it is about you as well. Sometimes you need to forgive yourself, especially in situations where you feel like you have placed yourself in a situation or in a position to be abused by another person. you start to blame yourself. You need to forgive yourself as well, besides forgiving the other person. To figure out what needs to be forgiven, you almost need to forget about your heart, because that is the seat of your emotions. If you are in your feelings, it is quite difficult to be rational. However, if you start from your head down to your heart, then you can be rational. You can rationally look at the situation and unpick the things that need to be forgiven. How that offense affected you, how it impacted you, how it impacts your life, the life of the people around you, how you can go about forgiving the offense. And then once your head is engaged, your heart is going to follow. And therefore, your feelings are going to follow. Step number 6. Release the control and the power the offending person and situation have in your life. I've kind of mentioned this already in number 4. Because when someone offends you and you hold a grudge against that person, you are practically giving your power over to that person to hurt you time and time and time again, whether they are present in your life or they are not. So, if you release that person, if you release the control and the power that the person has over you, and take back the power that you have over yourself from that offense, then you are releasing yourself as being the victim. You are no longer the victim. You don't see yourself anymore as a victim. And therefore, eventually, you stop defining yourself by how you have been hurt. Because the moment you say, I am not going to let this situation run my life again, you are releasing yourself from that hurt. Martin Luther King Jr. says, let no man pull you low enough to hate him. It doesn't matter what the offense is like. It doesn't matter how sordid, how hurtful it is. Let no man have enough power to make you to hate them. Now, when we forgive people, there are certain things there were certain questions kind of spring to mind when I was learning about this, when I was kind of researching this. There were some questions that kind of sprung to mind. The first one is, what if I cannot forgive them? Because it's forgiveness, like I said earlier, it is challenging. John Connolly says, there is nobility in compassion, a beauty in empathy, a grace in forgiveness. If you consider compassion and empathy, then if you start to practice empathy, then you can place yourself in the shoes of the offender. That is not condoning. You're not condoning what they have done. You are just trying to understand what they have done from their viewpoint, pretty much. Think about the times that you have offended other people and you may have been forgiven. Try to understand why that person behaves in the way that they do. You may not be able to change them, but you may just have more empathy when you understand where they are coming from. Pray about it. Pray about forgiveness. Build a relationship with God. Journal it. Write it down. Write how you're feeling down every day on a day-to-day basis. You will find that After some time, you realize that the anger, the emotion that you were writing with, or the emotion that you were spewing out, is no longer as raw as it was at the start. It starts to fade away gradually. Remember that it is a process, forgiveness. So you need to be patient with yourself. The second question that came to mind was, does forgiveness guarantee reconciliation? No, it doesn't, I'm afraid. Not always, anyways. Sometimes it does. Forgiveness sometimes can help people to reconcile. And it can even foster stronger and much more meaningful relationships between the two people. However, there are times that it is not possible to reconcile. For example, if you have been in an abusive relationship, such as a narcissistic one, you know fully well that the narcissist is not going to change. They are not going to change their behaviors. They are not going to change their character. And therefore, if you have left that situation, there is no reconciliation there. I'm sorry. There is no reconciliation there. And in some situations, even, they do not say they are sorry. They do not even recognize wrongdoing because they do not have enough empathy. They don't even have empathy at all to be able to recognize wrongdoing. The third question is, what if the person I forgave does not change? There are no guarantees that the person is going to change. There are even no guarantees that the person is going to seek your forgiveness. If you consider that forgiveness is not for the other person, but for you and how it can release you from those negative emotions, and how it can release you as well from whatever it is, from resentment, from anger, from the need for revenge, then you'll not even be seeking to change the other person. You will just forgive them, even if they have not asked for forgiveness. The fourth one is, what if I am the one who needs to be forgiven? Sometimes we do wrong as well. I know I do wrong sometimes. And if you are the wrongdoer, seek the other person and ask for their forgiveness. And give them time to forgive. Because just asking for their forgiveness is not a guarantee that they are going to forgive you straight away. Let them do so in their own time. And then other times we need to forgive ourselves. We need to recognize that sometimes we have done some stupid things that have put us in situations that we regret. But during those times, you need to remember that nothing just happens. It's either a lesson or you stay stuck. So, practice empathy here and forgive your own self so that you can release yourself from those emotions. Often in abusive situations, when people are in abusive relationships, like the case of the narcissist that I mentioned earlier, the victim may have been brainwashed by the narcissist to think that he or she is the cause of every single wrongdoing in that relationship. However, if you show yourself some compassion, if you practice empathy, then you would realize that that abusive person is doing so not even because of you. It is because of everything that is wrong inside of them. They need to deal with their own issues. It is nothing to do with you. Now, I have got a few benefits here. Oh my goodness, this video is becoming really long. It's about 24 minutes now. I'm really sorry, guys, but I'm just rounding up now. Now, I have got here some benefits and downsides of forgiveness. Okay, so what are the benefits of forgiveness? Forgiveness brings healthier relationships. Okay, improved mental health. Obviously, if you are forgiving, that means you're not holding grudges. You become a happier person. It avoids things like depression. It avoids things like less anxiety. It improves mental health. It leads to less anxiety, improve general heart health, because of obviously you are not depressed about it, you're not holding grudges against someone, you're not plotting and planning how to revenge, which takes up a lot of energy anyways. I'm sure anytime you've been angered by someone and you're thinking of getting back at them, it does take up quite a lot of energy. It releases negative emotions. It releases you from suffering. It attracts God's blessings as well. Now, this is key. This is really key. It attracts God's blessings. In the Lord's Prayer, what does it say? Forgive us our sins as we forgive the sins of those who have sinned against us. That means for God to forgive us our sins, we should have forgiven the sins of those who have sinned against us. Therefore, we can attract, by so doing, we can attract God's blessings. This is really good. This is really key, actually. And what are the downsides of forgiveness? It brings anger into new experiences, and it may make you to sabotage your new relationships that you are making with people and building with people. Okay, it could lead to anxiety and depression. You lose valuable and enriching connectedness to people, because if you do not forgive one person, you can take the sins of one person into a new experience and therefore lose that connection there. A feeling that your life lacks purpose. It may make you to develop feelings that your life lacks purpose, especially if you are a spiritual person, because your feelings are going to be at odds, or your behavior is going to be at odds with your spiritual beliefs. So you see, forgiveness actually is a healthy thing. It is beneficial, and above all, forgiveness is not for the other person. After all, it is for you. It is for you to help release you, to take back your power. So whenever you think of forgiving and you've got those nagging feelings that are saying no, remember, it helps you to take back your power from the other person or from the offender. When you forgive people, whether they ask for your forgiveness or not, it is your duty, it is your responsibility to forgive, because hurt people hurt people, healed people heal people, hurt people hurt people, healed people heal people. Ciao. I really hope you got something out of this one, and have a blessed, blessed, blessed day, or have a blessed night. If whenever, whatever time you're watching this, just have a blessed day. Ciao.